What's going on, everybody? Jeremy D here, back again with episode 2 of Call of Duty Ghosts for Newbies. Now, today we're going to go over the option menu within multiplayer, and I've got a couple little hints. There's not a whole lot of options that came with in Ghost, but you do have a few things that you can change, and a couple little tips that I have for you, especially if you plan on upgrading to the PlayStation 4. Now, if you don't have this screen and you are already at the Find Game screen and you didn't realize or pay attention to the fact that the options menu is on the first screen you get to as soon as you load multiplayer, especially if you watched my last episode and you switched your auto load screen or your beginning load screen to multiplayer. Basically, when you get in, it's going to put you on this screen. A lot of people just hit the play online and then you're here and options are gone. Why they don't put the options within this screen, I do not know. Probably because of the room. So if you get on this screen, you're trying to find the options, just back out and there they'll be. Now, when you go to the options, like I said, you don't have a whole lot to change. The number one thing you want to change first, you want to go to your button layout, and instead of allowing you to change individual triggers, basically you have all these different setups. What we're looking for is the default flipped. Now, the reason we're looking for default flipped is if you plan on upgrading to the PlayStation 4, these are going to be flipped, and unless you want to undo them, which you can probably. I haven't really looked at that. I got my PlayStation 4 hooked up and I played Ghost on it a few times, but I haven't really looked into the fact of whether or not you can do, or the options are the same on the PlayStation 4. They may have added something else extra in there. I will check into that and bring that to you in the future when I am able to capture my gameplay from my PlayStation 4. I'm not going to go out and spend a whole bunch of money, but that's another topic for another day. So you go in here, you want to select your default flipped, and that will set you up to get prepared for your PlayStation 4 arrival. Now, look inversion, everybody should know what that is. Basically, it makes when you look up or down, you can invert the stick so the opposite motion moves the opposite direction. I don't know anybody that plays like this, but somebody's mind may work in reverse and it may make it a lot easier. So that's where you do that. The stick layout, basically this is just a Southpaw legacy Southpaw thing. A lot of people are already familiar with this, but pretty much it just inverts the way that you move in the game. If you're never used to using this, I suggest trying it sometime, and you will be amazed at how difficult it is to play that way. Me personally, I play on default, so that's pretty much an experimental thing you can play around with. And if you haven't done it already and you're already playing on Southpaw or Legacy Southpaw, then you probably already know this part, so no sense in going over that any more in depth than I have to. The vibration, everybody knows what that is. That controls your motors in your controller that vibrate. A lot of people don't like playing with this on, my wife in particular, but I don't really care, so, you know, enable, disable, either way, left or right on the control pad, or D-pad rather, will select it for you. Now, sensitivity, I play right now on a 4, I sometimes jump to a 6, it all depends on what weapon I have, so I usually do this in-game, and I will show you how to do that in just a moment. Now, the safe area, that's what you set up in the beginning of the game. It just allows you to set your screen width to where you want it to be. I set mine always in a little bit, maybe a ½ inch on each edge of the screen, because it seems to work a whole lot better. And that's just, like I say, that's another personal preference thing, but you can get in there and play around with that just a little bit. The game volume. Game volume in this game is horrid. There should be at least 5 or 6 more switches on here for you to adjust the different aspects of the game so that you can listen to what you want to listen to while you're playing. Right now, as it stands in Call of Duty Ghost, I can't hardly hear my teammates at all. I don't know if it's because their mics suck. I don't know if it's because the control of the game volume is just horrid. But I hear footsteps and bombs exploding constantly. And anytime one of my teammates or one of my friends in my party speaks up to say something, I can't hear them. So, the game volume in this game sucks. But I run with mine about halfway and try to adjust the volume on my headset to make up the difference. The brightness, another thing, just like the safe area, you set this up when you first start the game up. If you ever need to change that and you don't like the way the game looks, just come in here and adjust that right there. The colorblind filter, basically all this does is change the different colors of the arrows and things on the minimap so that you can see them if you are colorblind. I'm not sure what color they turn on this game, but before, on previous Call of Duties, they turn purple. I'm not colorblind, so I don't use this, but there is the change. There is where you change for the colorblind filter. Now, the game manual, this is a very, very interesting thing they put in here, and it's kind of similar to what I'm trying to do with this series. Now, you go to the game manual, and it's basically just an instruction manual. It tells you all the crap about photosensitivity and epilepsy and seizures and all that kind of stuff, which, if you play it long amount of time and you have any of those, you will have seizures. I know a few people that have that issue and they cannot play for long periods of time. So it is definitely something to adhere to if you have those issues. Now, the online setup information, this just kind of tells you how to get it set up. But if you've ever played online before, then you already know this, and this is definitely a topic for another episode. Now, here are your controls. It's the same thing we just went over in the options menu. It shows you where everything is by default, and you have the option to change those. Like I say, I highly recommend if you're going to get a PS4 to change those or invert them. Also, if you're going to play with the Avenger controller, you also need to invert those as well. It will make your life a whole lot easier when it comes to adjusting to those methods. This is the support information, pretty much how to contact and do and who made this and whatever, and I ain't even going to read it. There it is. Contextual lean. This is the new feature they added into the game. When you are up against a wall, walk straight into the wall, face first, on the edge, where you can look around the corner, you kind of look out, slide back, and most people do this with the strafing action. In this game, they have enabled you to ADS, which is your aim down sight button, which will be on either L1 or L2, depending on whether or not you have inverted, and you will stand up against the edge of the wall, hit that button, and you will lean out and only expose the upper part of your body. Now, I don't find myself using this a whole lot of the game, but I'm not going to disable it because every now and then it does it automatically for me and I don't even realize it's doing it. So it's definitely a good thing to have. It's something you will have to practice with to learn for sure. So that's basically it for this this part of it. Now let's jump into a game here so I can show you how to access the options menu while you're in a game. Now, like I say, this is pretty easy to do. Most people know how to do it, but this series is all about teaching you the things that you may not know because you've never been shown, and we definitely want to make sure that we take care of you on that aspect. So, and if I just did all that and you can hear that in the background and it's not synced up, I apologize. So, go into the game, wait on the game to start, and I'll probably fast forward through all this. Just makes it a whole lot easier. Why'd I pick kill confirmed? Huh. So once you get loaded in the game, if you want to change any options before you start, or if you switch between your sensitivities, now's the time to do it. You do not want to do it in game unless you switch between classes in game, and that's no big deal. So you hit start before choosing your weapon, and there's the options menu. Bring it up. It's pretty much everything you saw in the first menu. So you can jump into here, change what you want to change. You're good to go. It is a little bit different if you notice. You can do the vertical margin, horizontal margin, everything individually instead of setting up the screen. But there's not a whole lot of difference there. Not a whole lot at all. So the game volume, same thing. Brightness is same thing. Everything's pretty much the same. So that's how you get to it here. Then you just go to your choose loadout, pick the gun you want to roll with, and play. So thanks everybody again for watching, and we will see you on the next one. Forgot I switched my buttons. I guess I could have canceled that.